ladies and gentlemen, once again, as always, it's the one, it's the only, it's the motherfucking genital, Miguel Magallon. And as always, it's the president, the founder, the motherfucking CEO of Magallon Entertainment. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the podcast. Welcome back to the motherfucking podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, this evening, tonight, what I bring to you is an update on the Bitcoin movement, the Bitcoin swing trade, the Bitcoin momentum trade, and the motherfucking Bitcoin update. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, you already know what time it is on the podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, say it motherfucking with me. When the general's about to teach you some shit, and the general's about to educate you on some shit, and the general's about to drop some knowledge in this motherfucker. Ladies and gentlemen, you get the pens and the motherfucking pads, and get ready to fucking learn this evening. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight, I want to talk about Bitcoin. I want to talk about this Bitcoin ETF. I want to talk about this Bitcoin momentum, this Bitcoin swing trade. I want to talk about what is the Bitcoin update. Now, for weeks and weeks and weeks now, for about 2-3 months now, the general has told you that we are going balls deep, all in, 100% maxed out on Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the play. Bitcoin is the truth. Bitcoin is 100% in our portfolios. Nothing but fucking Bitcoin, baby. That's the way we want it. And I've been saying that for probably the last 2 or 3 months, ever since Bitcoin hit that 35K mark, which was November of last year, November 23. I think November 1st is when it happened, right after Halloween. I know because I remember I was at my daughter's trunk or treat for her elementary school, even though she's in kindergarten. I remember being at the little trunk or treat with her, the schools do for the kids. And I remember being out there passing out some candy to all those fucking, nasty ass rugrats out there and all their fucking baby mamas walking around. And I, the general, because, I'm a humanitarian. I care about, people. I'm here for the people. I'm recording this shit for you guys, ain't I? So, you know what I mean? I care about the average American. And I was out there, you know what I mean, for my daughter's school, being a good dad, because what do I always tell you? The most important thing, for me in this life is to be a good father, it's to be a good husband, and it's to be a good leader for my family, right? To make sure that I love God, make sure that I praise God, and make sure that I thank God for all of my countless blessings, right? I am a God-loving man, I am a God-fearing man, and I am a family-first man. And the only 3 things I care about, in this life is God, my family, and my motherfucking portfolio. Because like I told you guys last week, these dirty-ass politicians aren't going to be the ones that help make me rich. The only ones who's going to make me rich, the only ones who's going to provide a better life for my family, and the only one that, can secure my financial future for me, myself, and my family is fucking me and God. Me and Jesus Christ with the Lord behind me. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, the general was out there last Halloween at his daughter's trunk or treat, passing out candy to all of these fucking oopsie kids, and making sure my daughter was having a good time and making sure she got dressed up with a little costume. You know what I mean? I was out there being a family man of the people, the motherfucking general, passing out free candy, to all the kids in school. And I remember that night, Bitcoin was trading at around 34,000 last year around Halloween. And I was like, ooh, looks like we might, finally hit that 35K mark. And I told you guys, 35K is important. 35K is a line in the sand. That is fucking important to me. Why is 35 important to me? Because 29K is probably the most important number in Bitcoin's history right now. And the reason it's the most important number in Bitcoin's history was because when Bitcoin was crashing back in 2021, after China kicked out all the Bitcoin miners, because China, I've talked about this, numerous times on this podcast, and I said China does not like Bitcoin. China does not fuck with Bitcoin. China does not, work with Bitcoin. They don't love Bitcoin. They don't trust Bitcoin. They don't want Bitcoin. Why? because Bitcoin puts the power of the money into the hands of the people and away from the government. And China, which is a dictator country, let's just be honest, President Xi is also known as Dictator Xi for a reason, right? China is a dictator, communist fucking country, right? And in this commie country, they want all of the money not in the hands of the people, but in the hands of the government. They want to control everything. They want to be on top of everything. And they want to be able to monitor and control everything. So when China sees something like Bitcoin, they're like, ooh, that's, that's no good. You know what I mean? No good, no bueno. Because that is going to take power away from me, the government, and put it in the hands of the people. Because now they're going to have something that's transparent. They're going to have something that's, peer-to-peer. And they're going to have something that it's on an open network. And people are going to be able to have more control over their money, more control over their finances, and more control over what they do with their money. And for the Chinese government, that is not a good thing. Because China wants to control you, China wants to monitor you, and China wants to be able to have influence over you. And Bitcoin is the antithesis, of that. So back in 2021, around April, May, and June, you guys can go back and read the reports. But basically, China came out and they banned all the Bitcoin mining. And they told all the Bitcoin miners in China, and they basically said, if you're a Bitcoin miner in China, you need to cease and desist all of your Bitcoin mining operations, or you need to get the fuck out of this country. And a lot of the Bitcoin miners got scared. A lot of the, Chinese Bitcoiners, started to run in fear. And a lot of Chinese, Bitcoin millionaires and even billionaires possibly ended up selling a lot of their Bitcoins because they didn't want to have any problems. They didn't want to have any issues with the Chinese government. So a lot of accounts started to liquidate out of fear because they don't want to end up prison. They don't want to end up assassinated. They don't want to end up dead somewhere, shot in the head. They don't want to be fucking, you know what I mean? Nobody wants to end up in a Chinese prison. You know what I mean? Most people don't survive that shit. Trust me. So with that being said, there was a lot of rich people in China back in 2021. They started liquidating and dumping and selling a lot of their Bitcoins, which is why when you go back to 2021 and you look at that chart for Bitcoin, in April, it was like 64,000. And then it went, and it went all the way down to what? 29,000. I think it was like 29,600, 29,100, some shit like that. But the point is, Bitcoin ended up, collapsing and tanking and falling off a cliff in the middle of 2021. And that's when I started to get a lot of emails back in the day. General, what's going on? General, what's happening? General, what's the update? General, what's going on in this war zone? General, what's the news on the Bitcoin battlefield? General, save me. You know what I mean? And I'm like, bro, calm down. Stop acting like a fucking bitch. Like, you know what I mean? Dude's walking around acting like a fat ass pussy, bro. Shut the fuck up and sit down. The general's doing work out here. I got you guys. And the entire time Bitcoin was going down, when we started to see the news that it's because China started banning their Bitcoin miners and saying, fuck Bitcoin, we don't trust Bitcoin, we don't want Bitcoin, and we don't want our people to ever need Bitcoin. You know what I mean? A lot of Bitcoin miners and a lot of Bitcoin, whales and mega whales out there in fucking China, they started to get worried. They started to get fearful. They started to get anxiety at night. You know what I mean? Nobody wants to fuck with the Chinese government, especially not when you and your family live there. Hell no. Fuck no. Nobody wants that smoke. So a lot of people in China started selling their Bitcoins and just started dumping and liquidating again. Not because they wanted to, but because they had to, right? How many times have we seen that over the years? So with that being said, that's kind of what happened in 2021, and that's why you see that price action in the summer of 21. There was a lot of selling and a lot of dumping. Again, not because they wanted to, but because the Chinese government made them feel like they had to. Otherwise, they might end up in a Chinese prison. Ain't nobody want that shit. So with that being said, that's why you see that price action the way it looks like on the chart for Bitcoin back in 2021. But as a reminder, for those of you guys who've been listening to my podcast since 2020 and 2021, you guys remember I was out here like a motherfucking boss, like a fucking G, like I was fucking built for guerrilla warfare. I was out here telling the truth. I was out here squeezing the motherfucking triggers till them clips was empty. And I was out there on the podcast every single fucking night in April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December, for the rest of the fucking year, saying fuck the Chinese government, fuck China, Fuck President Xi. Fuck Dictator Xi. Fuck everyone in their bitch-ass government. Fuck China. Eat a bag of dicks. Over there acting like a fucking bitch, man. And you know what I mean? They already did us dirty with COVID and telling us that, you know what I mean? It didn't come from the Wuhan lab. Remember that shit? And they try to tell us, no, COVID, we didn't make COVID. You know, we're not responsible by the Chinese government. No, COVID, it came from an animal. It came from a bat somewhere. And, you know, it came from a fucking donkey's ass. Remember they were coming out with every fucking excuse telling us that, you know, COVID came from an animal, or it's just a virus, or da-da-da, and this and that. And then at the end of the day, we all knew it came from the Wuhan lab. Remember that? But they wanted to deny it. And then there was this big old conspiracy theory, like, why would the Chinese government be working on a vaccine that could potentially kill millions of people? Why would they ever think of doing such a thing? Because they want to fucking kill us. That's why, bro. You know the Chinese government don't fuck with us. You know the Chinese government don't like us. The only reason they don't fucking kill us is because they want us alive, because we owe them a lot of money. You know what I mean? Like, we got a lot of debt to the Chinese government right now. I don't know if you guys ever knew this, but you know, just as a side note, whenever you guys get a chance, for those of you guys who are interested in politics or geopolitics or international business and international studies, if you guys want to know like the relationship with the U.S. and China, all you got to do is go on Google or go on ChatGPT and start asking them, like, ask ChatGPT when you get a chance, how much money does the U.S. government owe to the country of China, to the Chinese government? And we owe like billions and billions, if not fucking trillions of dollars to China, plus fucking interest. You know what I mean? That's why Trump was, you know, so big on the trade war with China, because, you know, Trump was upset that, and a lot of presidents are upset, that we owe so much fucking money to China, plus the interest. And on top of that, you know, like, they make everything we have, and they're taking all our jobs out there, because Chinese people are willing to work for less than, you know, we are out here. You know how it is out here. Everyone wants to make fucking $35 an hour. You know what I mean? With their fucking high school fucking diploma. Get the fuck out of here. But in China, these motherfuckers are willing to work for fucking pennies and dollars, you know, per day. They don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? Like, they're willing to work for anything, because there's so many people out there and not enough jobs. So out there in the Chinese, you know, Republic, I mean, yeah, it's a fucking war zone out there. But anyways, the point I was making was, we owe a lot of money to the Chinese government, and they kind of have us by the balls. And on top of that, they're taking a lot of jobs, and, you know, a lot of companies, you know, started building things out there. And that's why, you know, for many reasons, we had to pass the infrastructure bill, you know, which ended up being a lot of wasteful money. But in principle, the infrastructure bill was supposed to, you know, be to make sure companies are building stuff out here and not just offshoring everything overseas, because, you know, labor prices are cheaper out there. So anyways, though, that's basically 2021 in a nutshell, for those of you guys who weren't around back then. And that's why the Bitcoin chart looks like it does back in 2021, was because China came out and banned all the Bitcoin miners and basically said, fuck Bitcoin. We don't want this for you. We don't want this for our people, because we want to have control over their money. We want to have influence on their lives, and we want to be able to, like, see and monitor everything that they're doing with their money in their lives, in our economy. You know what I mean? Like, they want to have complete fucking control over you. And that's basically a communist country. So with that being said, that you know, caused that crash back in 2021. And then me, myself, as the fucking general, I had to come out on the podcast and explain this to everyone every single fucking night, and basically tell everyone every single fucking night not to be a bitch, not to be a pussy, not to be a fucking, you know, puto, and just buy some more. Stop spending your money partying. Stop spending your money on weed. Stop spending your money on fucking drinks and fucking Coronas and bitch ass modelos. Stop spending your money chasing loose pussy, and stop spending money trying to look cool for the Instagram. Nobody gives a fuck about you, homie. I'm telling you. I swear to God, I say this every night, but it's true. You could die today and your homies will be trying to fuck your wife tomorrow. These dudes are savages. They don't care. Trust me. I've seen it with my own two eyes. I've seen motherfuckers get locked up and sent to the penitentiary. I've seen motherfuckers die and someone trying to smash their baby mama at the funeral. I've seen motherfuckers go away to prison for life, and motherfuckers are piping down their girl doggy style next week. I'm telling you, the streets are fucking vicious. These people don't care about you. Nobody cares about you. Just God and your family. Everyone else could fuck off and eat a bag of dicks as far as I'm concerned. Trust me, your fucking supervisor don't give a shit about you. He'll fire you today and replace you tomorrow. You really think that company you work for cares about you? Fuck no. You ain't nothing but an employee number, homie. So, with all that being said and put out there, That's kind of what was happening in 2021, and that's why it was so important for me as your fucking general, the one and only, the legendary general, to come out there, put my foot up your ass, and yell at you every night, and tell you to keep putting money on Bitcoin, keep buying more Bitcoin, and you know what I mean, keep investing in Bitcoin, because over the long run, over the long term, Bitcoin is going to continue to go higher, and it's going to make you more money than, no bitch ass mutual fund or index fund, or putting your money away in a savings account with that 0.01% interest rate. Get the fuck out of here with that. And I said, just keep buying more Bitcoin. Don't be a bitch, homie. And that was basically what I said for the entire remainder of 2021. And so that 29,000 level where it dropped to in July of 2021 ended up being the floor. Now you fast forward to 2022, basically a year later, right? And a year later, when the Fed started this hiking cycle and the Fed started all this bullshit and all this nonsense with the fucking interest rates and the mortgage rates, and you know what I mean? We got to do what we got to do to kill inflation and make sure it goes away, and da 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 da. And everyone's talking about recession, and all these YouTubers talking about the housing market's going to crash, and you know what I mean? It was just a massive battle of the bulls and the bears. And just as a reminder, because I always, want to contextualize this for you, I am a bear. I am a mega bear. I am a fucking super bear. Because every time I talk to most of you, I ask you how much money you got in your checking account, how much money you got in your savings account, and how much money you have saved up for retirement. And all I keep hearing across the board is negative, 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 nothing, 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 negative, 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 broke as fuck, broke as fuck, broke as shit. Like, that's all I hear from people. So trust me, you know what I mean? Like, in many ways, you guys are already in a recession because y'all broke as shit. Y'all ain't got no fucking money, let alone something saved up for retirement. A lot of y'all listening are probably going to be working until your fucking 40s, 50s, 60s, and maybe even in your 70s and late 80s, and you're still going to be working. You know what I mean? Like, and I don't know what you're going to be doing by then, because a lot of these jobs are just going to be replaced by automation, AI, and fucking kiosk machines. So, we'll see what kind of work is out there in 20, 30 years from now. But again, for the sake of this podcast, please make sure, if you're listening, make sure you're investing your money, make sure you're saving your money, and for the love of God, stop spending it on stupid fucking shit, because otherwise you're going to be working on your hands and knees for the rest of your life. So anyways, in 2022, when this Fed started, this bitch-ass Fed started this hiking cycle with the interest rates and mortgage rates in the name of killing inflation, Bitcoin started to go down. And what did I say in 2022? I said, guys, Bitcoin is starting to look a little sketchy here. It's starting to look up and down. It's starting to look vulnerable in this hiking cycle. And I don't know how it's going to perform when the Fed is raising rates. My gut tells me it's probably going to start going down. And I said at the time when Bitcoin was trading at around 45,000, I said, guys, if this thing breaks down below 29,000, we're probably just going to keep going down and further from there. So if it breaks below 29,000, which was the floor in 2021, here I am in 2022 saying, guys, we break below 29,000, which was the support in 21, bro, it's probably just going to keep getting worse after that. Who knows how low it goes? And that's where a lot of people said Bitcoin could probably go all the way down to like 12K, 5K, 6K, 9K. Like, people were saying it's going to go back into like, quadruple digits. And it was going to be really, really bad for Bitcoin, because the Fed is just raising interest rates and they're basically slowly but surely killing this economy for the middle class and below, which are really the ones who are most affected by interest rates. Trust me, rich people don't care about interest rates. Rich people don't give a fuck about interest rates. Rich people don't even feel interest rates because they're sitting on millions and millions of dollars. They don't really have to finance anything. They got it like that. But everyone else in this economy, the middle class and below, which is like 85% of Americans, we're the ones who are affected by interest rates, and we're the ones getting fucked in the ass by interest rates, and we're the ones who are getting stressed the fuck out because of these bitch ass interest rates. So, you know what I mean? Like, when I say they started slowing down and killing the economy, I'm not saying they're slowing down and killing the entire economy, just our economy for the 85% of Americans who aren't multimillionaires. You know what I mean? Like, even if you're a small millionaire sitting on $2-3 million, you're probably still affected. Like, really, unless you're a multi-millionaire, your ass has been, impacted by this higher interest rate, higher mortgage rate environment in some capacity, one way or another. So with that being said, I said back, in 22, the following year, I said in 22, man, if we break below 29K, I'm not saying we're going to go down to like 5K, but I understand what the Bears are saying about us going down to like maybe 10, 15, 12K. That makes a lot of sense to me, because I don't know when this Fed hiking cycle is going to end. I don't know when they're going to be done. You know what I mean? And I don't know what the economy is going to look like when they're done. So I'd rather be safe than sorry. So I said, guys, it's probably time to sell all of our Bitcoins back when it was 29K. And I said, guys, it's time to sell all of our Bitcoins. You guys know that I'm a believer in Bitcoin. I'm a buyer of Bitcoin. I own fucking Bitcoins with my motherfucking S on the chest. And I believe in Bitcoin in the long run. I really, really, really fucking do. Right? Nobody talks about Bitcoin more than me. Right? Like, I feel like I'm one of the biggest Bitcoin enthusiasts out there. But at the same time, I got to keep it real with you. I got to keep it 100. And I said, guys, this environment sucks. This economy's dog shit. The labor market is bullshit, right? You know what I mean? Because that's when Biden came out and was on that fucking, that nonsense. There's plenty of jobs out there. There's so many jobs in the economy. And they're like, bro, nobody wants these bitch ass jobs. We need fucking careers. You know what I mean? You think working at McDonald's or working at Chick-fil-A or working at bitch-ass Chipotle or working at Mickey D's or Chuck E. Cheese or Arby's, you think that's a fucking job we want to take? Like, no, especially not in this environment where, rent is expensive, gas is expensive, food was expensive. And you guys got to remember, in 2022, everything was just going up, and it still is. But people started to notice it. People started to feel it, especially once those, stimmy checks stopped coming. You know what I mean? Like, motherfuckers was looking at their checking account and they were like, yo, this ain't enough. And the checking account was looking at them like, bitch, make it enough. And that was an environment that we found ourselves into. So with all that being said, back in 2022 when Bitcoin broke below that 29,000 mark, I said, guys, I think it's time to sell all of our Bitcoins. Don't get mad at me. I don't want to hear no bitching, no complaining, no moaning. I don't want to hear nobody acting like a fucking puta out there. Just shut the fuck up and listen. And I'm telling you, as the motherfucking general, it is time to sell your Bitcoin position. It's time to dump it. It's time to get out of it. It's time to fucking, run away from that shit. Because the Fed is hiking interest rates. Again, this is like the middle of 2022, like April, May, and June, when Bitcoin was just falling off a fucking cliff and everyone's running around screaming, what do we do? What do we do? What do we do? General, save me. And I said, yo, man. From the start of 2022, I said, get ready for a bloodbath. Get ready for a financial massacre. Get ready for a motherfucking war zone for the middle class and below. Again, not the rich people. What do I say about the rich people? They're gonna be alright. But the rest of you bitch ass people, middle class and below, 85% of Americans living paycheck to paycheck right now. The rest of us, oh, we about to get our ass whooped. It's about to be a beatdown. It's going to be a financial catastrophe, which it is. You know what I mean? The only reason most of you guys listening are even surviving is because like 90% of you guys are probably living at your mama's house, and the rest of you guys are living with a bunch of dirty ass roommates that don't ever want to pick up after themselves, and the rest of you maybe live like with your in-laws or your fucking tias or your tias. But almost everyone now is just living with their fucking family. I see it everywhere now. When I go to LA, when I go to Utah, when I go to Colorado, when I go to Arizona, when I visit Texas, every time I go out of state, anywhere, even here in Vegas, especially here in Vegas, all I see is a bunch of millennials and Gen Zs doing what? Living with their parents. They can't afford to live on their own. They can't afford to pay rent. They barely afford their fucking car payments. Car payments are astronomical these days. That's why everyone's riding around the city in a fucking hoopty. I'm just being real with you. So, with all that being said, I said, man, this is not a good environment. This is not a good economy. I don't love the job market. That shit looks disgusting. You know what I mean? I don't love the stock market here. That shit looks atrocious because back then everything was crashing. And I said, man, all this shit look like bullshit to me, man. This is a fucking war zone. This is a fucking financial massacre. This shit was orchestrated from day one. They wanted to kill our portfolios. They wanted to kill our bank accounts. They wanted to destroy our savings account. They wanted to murder our fucking 401ks and Roth IRAs. They don't want us to retire. They want us to be slaves. What do I always say? America's not a country. It's a fucking business, homie. And we're in the business of financial slavery. They want us to work on our hands and fucking knees to the day we fucking die. Right? Because the only way the economy is able to support the top 10% of Americans is if the bottom 90% of Americans work on their hands and knees for basically all of eternity. I'm just being real with you. The top 10% of Americans, that top 5.1, 0.01, all these millionaires and billionaires in the economy, all the Rick Rosses and Floyd Mayweathers and fat ass DJ Khaled's and the Bryce Harpers and oh my God, the Travis Kelce dating the Taylor Swifties. Like, you think all these bitch ass people are able to live these amazing lives and travel the world and eat all their good food and caviar and filet mignon and steak and lobster and going to a different city every night? You think they can afford to do that shit if everybody was rich? No. You know, the reason the top 10% can live that lavish life is because the bottom 90% basically have to work on their hands and knees to provide them with that blessed life. So yeah, I do believe this shit was orchestrated. The Fed can't have too many rich people. It could only have the top 10, top 15% of Americans being rich people. The rest of us, we got to work to make them happy. That's basically the U.S. economy. Again, you know, physical slavery is dead and gone, but financial slavery is alive and well. That shit's never been more thriving. That shit's booming right now. Everyone's a financial slave. Your landlord owns you. Your credit card companies own you. The student loans own you. The auto loan owns you. I mean, fuck. You know what I mean? The grocery store, bitch ass Walmart owns you, because that's where all our money goes to. You know what I mean? Amazon, Walmart, grocery stores, the bitch ass landlord, the credit card companies, the student loan financiers, the auto loan financiers. I mean, damn. You know what I mean? All the debt collectors, you know what I mean? And the grocery companies. That's basically where like 99% of our money goes to. And like that 1% goes to a retirement account. And maybe one day we can fucking make it if we invest it. And that's the problem with mutual funds. They're never going to get you the money you need. So you have to invest in something else. And I think that something else is Bitcoin. I think Bitcoin is the future. I think Bitcoin is the truth. And I think Bitcoin is going to be the only thing in this world that can take you and give you financial freedom and financial independence and give you that financial flexibility. But in order to be in Bitcoin, you got to have balls. You got to have a stomach. You got to have some heart. You got to have some fucking cajones. Because if you're going to be a bitch about it and you're going to be a pussy every time Bitcoin goes down 20, 30, 40%, you'll never survive in Bitcoin. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have what it takes. You know, take your bitch ass back to a mutual fund or an index fund. Get your 10% a year. See how long it takes you to be a millionaire that way. Especially when you're only making $25 an hour or less. You know what I mean? Like, it's just not going to happen. You don't have enough disposable income to put in the stock market. I'm just being real with you. So that's why I said you're going to have to go and put your money into crypto or Bitcoin or Ethereum or Cardano or Avalanche or Solana or Polygon or Cosmos Atom or what else is there? VeChain. You know what I mean? Like, even the fucking Dogecoin. I understand why people put their money in Dogecoin. I know it's stupid. All it is a picture of a chihuahua, but I understand why people do it. Because if it does go to $1, you can make a lot of money. If it doesn't go to $1, then you'll lose all your money. But at this point, you have to take the risk, because putting it in a mutual fund that goes up 10% a year when you only got $200-300, like, bro, you'll never be able to retire. You have to take the risk. You have to gamble. Because if you don't, you're guaranteed to lose. So might as well shoot your shot while you can. You feel me? So anyways, though, back to the story. So 2022, when Bitcoin was dumping and thumping and just collapsing and falling off a cliff, I said, guys, I don't trust this environment. I don't trust the economy. I hate this fucking, dog shit job market. And, interest rates are going to go too high. Mortgage rates are going to be too high. Real estate agents nationwide are going to fucking suffer because they're not going to be making any commission checks this year. And they're going to be struggling to make money, make bread. And I said, guys, I think we're starting to go into a recession soon for the middle class and below. Again, not the upper middle class or the rich. They gonna be alright over there sipping their champagne bottle, sucking on their wife's titties at night because they live in the upper middle room. But the rest of you hoes, the rest of you bitches, hell nah. Y'all gonna be over there, talking to your landlord, talking about, can you get a fucking extension or can you get more time? Talking to your supervisor if you can pick up an extra shift, if you could work on weekends and holidays and the night shift and the day shift and this shift and that shift. Because motherfuckers need to make as much money as they can just to barely survive. That's the environment we're going into, and that's the environment we're in right now. So when Bitcoin in 2022 was going sideways and starting to fall off a cliff from 45 down to 35 down to 29,000, I said, guys, I don't know if we're going to be able to hold 29,000 this time the way we did back in 2021. It might be time to let Bitcoin go out of our portfolios. You know what I mean? And I love her. I believe she's the truth. I think she's the future. I think she's going to be the only way out of here for most of you motherfuckers. But at the same time, I just got to keep it real with you. I'm a motherfucking general and we're in the motherfucking war zone. And I got to tell you guys, Bitcoin's about to get shot in the head. If this shit doesn't bounce off 29,000 and it keeps going below, shit, watch out below. Who knows how low it goes? You know what I mean? Like Luda said, how low can you go? How low can you go? Some people were saying 5, some people said 10, some people said 12. Everyone came out with price targets, but the point was everyone thought it was just going to keep collapsing and keep going low. So I said, fuck that shit. I don't want you guys to experience that shit. I don't want you guys to go through that. I don't want you guys to have to get, hit by that. So I said, fuck that. I'm going to get you guys out the way. You know what I mean? My VIP subscribers especially, right? Shout out to all my VIPs listening to me right now. And I said, guys, dump your Bitcoin, sell your Bitcoin, let go of your Bitcoin position. And it's time to jump into something new. And we have to start being defensive in our portfolios. And that's when I told you guys about my 5, favorite recession plays. I told you guys Costco, because no matter what, people are going to have to buy groceries for their family and their kids. I said Walmart, because that's where like 50% of your money probably goes to anyways, because that's also a place where most people buy groceries for their families and their kids. And then I said Dollar Tree, Dollar Gen, because people are going to need shit as cheap as possible, and people are going to start budgeting. And I think Dollar Tree and Dollar Gen are going to be beneficiaries of people trying to survive on a strict budget. And then lastly, I said McDonald's, Mickey D's. And I said I really like McDonald's, ticker symbol MCD, because I said a lot of people, especially when they travel, and people who work multiple jobs and have kids, sometimes it's just cheaper and more convenient just to get their kids something cheap from Mickey D's. And, I talked about how it's not healthy for your kids and it's not really good for your kids. But when you're a single parent or you're a busy parent working multiple jobs, sometimes it's not about what's healthy or what's best. Sometimes it's just about what's the most affordable and what's the quickest. Especially, you know what I mean, when you don't have a lot of time on your hands to go home and actually cook something for your kids. So I understand. Again, I'm not saying it's good for you. I'm not saying it's good for your kids. I'm not saying it's a healthy option. I'm saying it's quick and affordable. And for a lot of Americans, that's what they really need in this environment. Sometimes it's not about what's best for you. It's just about, what's the most affordable to you. Unfortunately. You know what I mean? Like, again, I'm not saying this is the way the world should be. I'm here to tell you the way the world motherfucking is and how you can make money in this world. So I said, guys, if Bitcoin's going to keep collapsing, which it did, I said, sell your Bitcoins and start, hopping onto some of this shit. Costco, Dollar Tree, Dollar Gen, Mickey D's, and fucking Walmart stock. And I said, look, these stocks aren't necessarily going to double, but they're going to keep your money safe. They're going to keep your portfolio protected. And you know what I mean? It'll buy us some time to, evaluate things and see how these, how this economy plays out when the Fed is eventually done with this hiking cycle. And then 2023, the Fed stopped raising rates and everyone got happy and everyone said the worst is over. It's all rainbows and unicorns. The Fed and Biden, they defeated inflation without causing a recession. Everything's amazing. Everything's great. Kumbaya. They made it. Hallelujah. Praise the Lord. And the markets really started to rally, because they're under the impression that the Fed's going to start cutting rates soon, which again, I don't think so, but we're going to find out real quick. We're going to find out real fast if that's actually true or not, because the markets are pricing in rate cuts. The stock market is predicting that the Fed is going to start lowering rates in basically the next 2 months. I don't think it's going to happen at all, at all. But a lot of the bulls are saying in the next 2 months they're going to happen. A lot of the conspiracy theories out there that we talked about last week, they're saying that the Fed's probably going to start cutting rates right before the election to help Joe Biden get reelected. We'll see, you know what I mean, if that's true or not. But the bulls and a lot of people are, believing that the Fed's going to start cutting rates soon. Again, we'll see. The stock market is predicting several rate cuts soon. We'll see. But that narrative, along with the Bitcoin spot ETF that we've been talking about for weeks and weeks, if not months and months now, has really put a lot of momentum into Bitcoin. And now all of the institutions who spent years and years and years and years bitching and bitching and bitching and bitching and bitching about fucking Bitcoin, guess what they're all doing now? trying to buy fucking bitcoins, and they're over here fucking sucking that dick, fucking gogging on that shit, talking about we need more bitcoin, we need to invest in crypto's the future, bitcoin this, bitcoin that, you know what I mean? Even though they spent fucking the last 10 years talking shit about it, talking down on it, now here they are fucking praising it, talking about they need to jump in on it. I'm like, yeah, jump in on these nuts, bitch. So with that being said now, the Bitcoin rumors about the Bitcoin spot ETF getting approved soon, they've been swirling and they've been getting louder and louder and louder and louder. And now a lot of people predict that a Bitcoin ETF is imminent, that a Bitcoin ETF is coming soon. And if and when that Bitcoin ETF does come soon, that is going to allow these institutions, right, the largest institutions and mutual funds and index funds and retirement funds and wealth management funds in the world, to buy as many Bitcoins as possible. And they're going to buy like 100,000 each. You know what I mean? Because again, they're not just putting billions into Bitcoin. Some of these institutions are talking about putting trillions of dollars into Bitcoin. So when you look at the BlackRocks and the Vanguards, the Fidelities, and all these mutual funds and index funds and retirement funds and 401k managers, and you look at all this institutional money across Wall Street and around the world, if they get that green light from the SEC to finally be legally allowed to buy as many Bitcoins as possible, which again they're going to do through Coinbase. If they can do that and they can just start loading the boat and just buying Bitcoins, 100,000, Bitcoins each, I mean, sheesh, the amount of money that's going to flow into Bitcoin, it's going to be astronomical. And that in it by itself will be so much fucking money, so much fucking demand, so much fucking firepower that, yeah, a lot of the bulls like me, who are not just long-term believers, but who also are putting their money on Bitcoin as a swing trade and as a momentum play. If that Bitcoin ETF rumor is true and the ETF does get approved soon and all of that institutional money in the billions and billions and trillions starts to flow into Bitcoin, then yeah, I think Bitcoin slices through 100K easily. I think it goes to at least 200, 250K minimum. And my base case is probably 300 to 400,000. That's where I think it probably ends up going to. Could it go up to a milli? Could it go up to 2 milli, 3 milli? Who fucking knows? The higher it goes, the better, because I want to make as much fucking money as possible. You know what I mean? Again, this isn't just a long-term investment. This is also a swing trade and a momentum trade for me. I'm balls deep in this fucking bitch. You know what I mean? Like, I'm pulling out for shit. You know what I mean? I'm gonna just fucking keep, clapping those cheeks. Because right now, this pussy is making me a lot of money. I love Bitcoin right now, both as a long-term investment and as a short-term trade. And so for all of you listening to me, we should all pray that Bitcoin goes as high as possible, because if it does, and these Bitcoin ETF rumors are true, then guess what? We're going to fucking cash the fuck out of here, and we're going to get a fucking 5x, a 10x, maybe a 20x in our portfolios, depending how high it goes, right? But again, this only works if the Bitcoin ETF rumors are true. If they end up being fake, if they end up being a lie, if it all ends up being a fucking, some fucking stupid rumors by some, stupid mentirosos, then guess what? This shit's going to go down again, and we need to have our stop losses ready, because I don't want to watch this shit collapse and lose half my fucking money or something. You know what I mean? Like, I want to be prepared. I'm praying for the best, but I'm always prepared for the worst. And that's what you need to do if you're going to survive in this war zone. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, that's kind of where we're at with this. This is kind of what's going on with Bitcoin. It's basically just the ETF reports and the ETF rumors. And, hopefully it gets approved, man. I really hope so. I really hope it does. If it does, man, I think sky's the limit. I think we could honestly get a 5x, 10x, maybe a 20x on our portfolios. And then once that Bitcoin ETF gets approved and Bitcoin does finally skyrocket, you want to know what's going to happen next? After that, they're going to be talking about an Ethereum spot ETF and a Cardano ETF and a fucking Avalanche ETF and a Solana ETF and a fucking everything ETF. And so they're not just going to stop with Bitcoin. They're going to keep doing one by one by one by one. And there's going to be so many setups, so many momentum trades and day trades and swing trades in crypto. We're probably going to be making money for at least the next 2, 3, maybe, 4 or 5 years just in fucking crypto. Like, we won't even need the stock market again, because there'll just be so much fucking money to be made in this crypto atmosphere. So, we want Bitcoin to go higher. We want the rumors to be true. We want this shit to hurry up and get approved. And we want to, we want to cash out a profit. You know what I mean? Because right now, the way the economy's going, the way inflation is, you guys need a 5x and a 10x and a 20x in your motherfucking portfolio. You know what I mean? Because right now, these prices, man, it's fucking bullshit going on out here, America, and I feel you. I fucking really do. Every time I go to the grocery store, every time I go to the bitch ass gas station, every time I try to get my kids something on Amazon, a birthday gift, a Christmas gift, we got Valentine's Day fucking coming up soon, right around the corner. I mean, sheesh. It's fucking expensive out here, bro, especially when you got kids. Damn, man. This shit's a fucking arm and a leg. You gotta fucking be kidding me. So, that's where we are, America. That's the situation. That's the setup. We're going to keep putting our money into Bitcoin. We're going to keep pulling the trigger on Bitcoin. And we're going to keep squeezing that bitch till the motherfucking clip is empty. Fuck the bullshit, America. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's the update. That's what's going on. That's what's happening. I continue to believe that Bitcoin is going to continue to go higher. I want the Bitcoin rumors to be true. I want that ETF to get approved soon. I need that shit to get, I need that check mark ASAP. You know what I mean? Andale, mama, ia. Like, I need that shit immediately. I really fucking do. And so do you. Shit, everybody does. Shit, we could all use a 5x or 10x in our portfolios because these days, things aren't getting cheap. They just keep getting more and more fucking expensive, if you ask me. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, that's the ETF rumors. That's the ETF update. Right now, they just, I can give you a bunch of links and a bunch of sources, but honestly, none of it matters if it isn't true. If it's not true, then, you know what I mean? All the sources in the world don't mean anything. The only thing that fucking matters now is that you guys are doing, the most you can to pay your bills, kill your debt, and invest as much fucking money as possible. Kill your bills, pay your debt, and fucking invest as much money as possible. Because the word of the fucking day is, the mantra of 2024 is, to make as much money as motherfucking possible. So ladies and gentlemen, make sure you're doing what you're supposed to do. Until next time, my soldiers, I'll see you guys again. Peace out.